Hey guys, welcome to episode 27. Thanks for always, Bozos. I think I got it correct this time. I'm Drew. Joining me as always is the one and only Zach Ladder. Zach, do you like the full name or do you want me to go like Zach,
It's better
Zachary?
than no, definitely not Zachary. Like I'll take the full name. Just Zachary is reserved for like my parents and like
And the
that's
government?
it. Not even like only my parents. That's it.
Only your parents. So wait,
Yeah.
so if you're filing out like a form for like say like your driver's license renewal or
Okay.
whatever,
All right. That I
what are
will
you
put
what are you putting
Zachary.
down? Okay.
Driver's license is one of the few things, but like any other thing I fill out, like all of my mailing addresses and all of that stuff, it's always
It's
Zach.
just Zach.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
know, because
like
I was
government stuff or like legal stuff, like it has to be Zachary, unfortunately. But like I don't really
no, because
like it.
I do the same thing, and like one of my coworkers just said was kind of like blown away at the idea that like Drew is a nickname or short for Andrew, which was like, and I'm like, what?
Oh, what? Yeah.
And then they're like, so what do you is like? Do you fill out everything that way? And I go, yeah. There's like what people call me, like like everything else, and there's like formal documents, and it's like I put my formal name in because
Does anybody at work call you Doug, or is that like reserved for the Strickland?
okay, so you'll like this. You'll find this is absolutely hysterical. Um, I was interviewing for a job at MIT,
Yep, I think you
and
told me this.
yeah, I
Yeah.
probably did, but I don't know if this is shared on the pod. But it was very funny. I forget what we were. I forget the platform that was used, but we used it once for the Strickland for something, and it had Doug. Right. So I put my name as like Andrew, preferred name Drew, all this sort of stuff. I log in. Next thing you know, the guy's like, "Oh, interesting. Do you go by Doug?" Because the name was still listed as Doug because we did something on site, and I was like, "No, I don't." And then he goes, "Why are you named Doug then?" So I had to like figure out like an explanation because I didn't want to be like, "So there's this Knicks website, right?" And like the whole history of how it happened. Like it's a very specific thing, so I didn't want to go into it. And I was like,
So what was the excuse you came up with?
I forget.
Okay, well, that's
I
anticlimactic,
think
but still a
I
good story.
maybe I think I said something even worse, which was like I misspelled Drew.
What? How does anybody? It
It's,
auto corrected
yeah,
to Doug.
it was
Yeah.
something like that. But it was just very funny to be like, oh shit. But yeah, no, that is a very specific like Strickland posting and toasting thing because of
Yeah.
the beloved the beloved Stingy, who I think just actually didn't know my name at the time.
No, I didn't even know that was the roots of it. I just thought it was just always this way, and that was it.
No, it
Never even
was it
questioned
was
it.
no, it was Stingy.
Yeah.
Because
Well, shout
because
out to him.
yeah, shout out to Stingy. It was Stingy related. He did something. I don't know. I said something, and or it could have been like I had a certain take, and he was like, "Terrible take, Doug," or whatever. And I go, "That's not my name." And he goes, "It is when you takes like that." Like it was something to that effect. But that was a Stingy thing. But yeah, that was a good tangent. So we can't go into the show right now because the overlords, our gambling overlords, have our sponsors for us, of course, and it's always Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment and political props, head to Bet Online today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online. The game starts here. And of course, everyone, don't forget, Strickland has a Patreon. This is where you can hear the full episodes of Takes from Obvious Bozo. So if you go to the patreon.com/the Strickland or go to the strict.land and hit the big giant banner that says Patreon, that'll lead you right there. To get the full episode of this show, it's the $6 tier, which also includes Friday episodes of Pod Strickland with Schwinn and Prez. There's a $9 tier that gets you exclusive articles from Matthew Miranda and many of our other writers. There's the Strictly NFL show with Khan and a rotating guest. I believe isn't the Super Bowl coming up?
It is. It is not next weekend, the weekend after. This weekend, though, probably by the time this episode is out, we will have the Super Bowl entrance. The two teams. We're down to 4 right now.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask, like, are they?
Can
Who's in the?
can you name the 4? I don't think you can. Both games are tomorrow. the divisional championships or conference
Okay.
championships.
I'm gonna say for the NFC,
Yep.
it's the Commanders.
Yep.
I only know that because I think the Eagles lost, and our boy Stacey Patton was not happy about it.
You are wrong. The Eagles are playing the Commanders in the conference championship tomorrow at
Whoa, really? They're
3:30.
playing each
Yeah.
other? How does
Yes.
that happen since they're both in the division, or is division
So
stuff not really?
it doesn't really matter. I'm not the person to ask this, but I think the Eagles won the division, and then the Commanders were like the second place in the division, and they made it to the wild card, and then they won the wild card. They've been on like this
Okay, I see.
miraculous run, and it worked out that way. They're both in the same
Wow,
division.
so
But
they're facing each other. Oh man,
yeah,
it's gonna cause some serious tension in the next locker room.
it's gonna be a great game. It's the Brunson Hart Bowl. It's crazy.
It really is. And then
Yeah.
so I got half of that right.
Yeah. What about the AFC?
Well, I know it's not the Jets.
No, definitely not the Jets.
Definitely not the Jets.
Dude, this is a layup, man. This is a layup. I'm actually surprised you got some of the NFC right, because that was the one that's
Okay.
more
All
crazy.
right. So given how I've seen certain like NFL clips on the formerly state sanctioned TikTok,
Yes.
there was a lot of talk about how the NFL is always rigging games for the Chiefs. So the Chiefs have to be in the finals.
They are one of
AFC
them.
Finals.
They are one of them.
If
If you need a hint, I have a good hint. I have a good hint for the next one.
And I hope this is me hoping. I don't actually know, because I only have one favorite player in the NFL now, and it's Josh Allen. And I hope it's the Bills.
It is the Bills. I was going to give you a hint saying that there is a member of the Strickland who is heavily invested in this team, but
I don't care. I don't care about winning that. Listen, the most important thing. Actually, no. So listen. I have a bone to pick with Wegmans.
Really? Should we wait till we get food takes, or should we just get into it right now?
No, we need to get into it right now because it just reminded me because of the Bills and Josh Allen. So I came across like Wegmans is new for me because this is a northeastern, I mean, not even like New York metro area, northeastern, like upstate New York, going into New England, and then it's come down to New York eventually, right? So this is like a very regional thing. So it was new to me. They had a very specific cereal called like Josh Allen O's or something like that, right? It was very specific. Josh Allen, it was like the Wegmans brand, Josh Allen O's, and it was just basically like not Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, with just the Bills colors, right? Red and blue.
Yes.
And it was a cereal. And of course, like that brings me to like when I'm younger, like the Wheaties box and that type of stuff. So I go, I love that they picked randomly Josh. I didn't realize they're from upstate New York Wegmans and they're associated with like Buffalo. So like I didn't know that at the time. I was like, this is random. I love that there's this random quarterback from the Bills. And I'm like, that's my buddy Schwinn's team, right? And I'm like, Schwinn, there's Josh Allen O's. I'm going to start eating them. Wegmans has not released them since like a couple years ago. And the Bills have been better, apparently. They made it to the AFC Championship game. I'm going to Wegmans to pick up some prescriptions because it's like my grocery store. I swear, if they don't have Josh Allen O's for this game, I don't know what I'll have to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
I think you'll survive. I think the Bills will survive. History suggests that they're better when the Josh Allen O's aren't there. So
is that what do you think that there's like a superstitious thing?
Yeah.
And that since they took away the O's, the Bills have been winning.
Yes, but also I don't know if you know the history, but this is enough NFL after this. But Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes have matched up in the playoffs, I think like 3 of the past 4 seasons or something like that, and Mahomes has beat him every time. So my prediction is that it will continue and the Chiefs will win again. So sorry, Trey.
I hope not.
I hope so. I love Mahomes. I want him to. I want the 3-peat. I want the dynasty. I want his Hall of Fame resume. I want him to clear Brady. I want all of it. I think it'd be great.
He's not going to clear Brady.
He's on pace to kind of make it an argument if he just keeps it up.
We'll see. But anyway, those are all the promos. That's all the NFL talk.
And that's enough NFL forever. Yeah. So
we're gonna get into the takes. I have it kind of segmented. I had an original idea that's like kind of still there, but this is one of the rare times that we got a bunch of takes from state sanctioned Twitter. Honestly, if there's any reason to stay on it, is just for you to just see how stupid everyone really is, because we got a collection of stuff that it is so mind-numbingly stupid that I can't wait to talk about. Like, that's probably the only reason. Like, you're not going to get any good news anymore. It's always going to be some sort of propaganda now.
And it's all dramatic,
right? Like,
too. It's all super dramatic.
It's all overblown. Like, it is. That is probably the worst part of like modern day type of like government takeover of media, because they're not even taking over like traditional media companies. They took over social media, which I think is probably even worse than like a state sanctioned like news channel. But anyway, we don't have to get into that. But where you have takes, and you submitted this take from our beloved Tyrese, which is I can't. This is I wanted to get into this because I think we'll see. Tyrese goes, there is a conversation, or there is a convo that needs to be had about Deuce.
Dude.
So here's if for whatever reason, like the one person or the two people who listen to just this and don't listen to like, the post games or by Strickland, that like our buddy Tyrese, who does a lot of stuff with Sam on the rundown, which is another thing that the Strickland produces. His whole thing now is that Deuce McBride isn't good.
Yeah.
And the Knicks need to upgrade him. And this conversation needs to be had. And I think Tyrese, is just kind of not off the rails. I know where he's going with it, but he's also wrong, if that makes sense. But I want to hear your thoughts first, because I've actually talked to him about this on the rundown. So I'm actually
okay. I get why he does this, and I understand that like Deuce's production he hasn't made like a major leap since last season, and like his numerical production hasn't been all that. And I also think like the injury plays a huge role there. Like he had the hamstring injury, and he's still working his way back. I think he is back from that now. Like I think we're ready to kind of move on. But I think there was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 games where he was definitely like getting his legs back and like figuring it out, which is totally fine. Like I understand if he had some bad games here and there. I submitted this tweet was from like a week before the Philly game that we just played.
Yes, it was. And I went back for some of these.
Yeah, but I submitted the tweet like a week after the Philly game, because in Philly I think he had did he have 20 points? He had like 18 points or something like that. Like he played good in the Philly game. I don't remember. But
I'll double check. Game.
Yeah. Regardless of how good he's been numerical production or whatever, he is the best point of attack defender on the team. Mikhail has made some strides there. Mikhail has been helpful at point of attack, but I think Deuce is still the best point of attack defender on the team. And he also makes no money. Like his contract is unbelievable, an unbelievable heist. So for those 2 reasons alone, like this guy can be like a mediocre shooter and like not have anything off the dribble, which he has kind of been all season, and it's still fine. Like he is still a competent player. I think there's a difference between him being your 6th man and your 8th man or your 9th man. I think right now he is our 6th man, and that's not his own fault. That's the fault of the way we built this roster and not having a lot of depth. I think he's much better suited to be your 7th, 8th, 9th man. That would be awesome. That would be a nice dream scenario for us. Right now, he is not that, and he's probably being asked to do a little bit more than what the ideal scenario would ask of him. But the whole like, oh, there needs to be a combo, there needs to be like an upgrade thing, like Tyrese's dramatization of the whole thing is ridiculous. And I think he is going to be here beyond the trade deadline, and he's probably going to be here beyond next offseason, and he will be here for the remainder of the contract that he's on. So
I would agree with that. So McBride didn't have 20 points.
How many did he have?
He went 13, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal, but he went 4 from 3. It's a good game.
Yeah.
So I agree pretty much with you, with everything you're saying. Where I would say this idea of like there needs to be an upgrade for Deuce, I think it's placing the issue, I think, on McBride. Rather, it's not specifically a McBride issue, right? Because you're ultimately saying the Knicks need a guy who can actually kind of like create off the dribble on the bench unit, because like the Knicks don't really have that outside of Brunson, right? There's no one who's really creating off the dribble. It's Brunson all the time, pretty much, and then Josh Hart's doing his best impression as a second.
You get a little Mikhail here or there too.
And Mikhail sometimes if he's feeling it. Yeah. So a lot of the creation comes from Towns in terms of like center play. He has the ball. How is everyone playing off of him, right? It's a different type of creation. Where I think the identifying thing is there needs to be another person who dribbles, and it's like, well, McBride is the best guy to do it, and he's not doing it, so we need to get rid of him. And it's like, I get it, you want him to be that, but I think practically too, which is kind of lost, is his salary so low, you can't actually get an upgrade, right? Because like the upgrades,
yeah. The upgrade would require you attaching another salary in there, or like losing Precious or Mitch or something to like actually get that.
And that kind of and that negates the whole point of getting the bench better. Yeah. There are these just like practical ways of like contract stuff that you can't do. So like, sure, you can maybe do something like, I don't know if the contracts work, but like I kind of like this person. I don't like the person necessarily. I love the Cam Thomas discussions that's being happened, mainly because he's a really interesting statistical case.
Yes, I saw what you talked about the other day about like his BPM and how like he's the only player. Yeah, you could do the whole thing.
It's weird stuff where it's like his usage and efficiency is pretty much only like the elite guys in the league do it.
Yeah,
right. And it's just bizarre because like in the impact doesn't necessarily. It's translating right now on a bad Nets team, which I think is like, oh, interesting. Is he actually rising? But like that's the whole thing. Like you could do that, and that would be helpful, but then you lose a pretty important piece, which is like perimeter defense off the bench.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can do certain upgrades, or I think it would make sense. It may actually help the Knicks. I don't know. I think placing bench depth on Deuce is potentially misguided. And if you want to get that, and if you want to upgrade it, you're basically saying salary wise, it's like Deuce, Precious, Mitch for Colin Sexton. I don't know if adding Precious is too much, but anyway, right? You're taking two guys, replacing one, and you still don't have a bench.
Yeah, so that's not Deuce's fault. That's just the way the roster is built.
But if you're a little upset that like Deuce is like not maybe like projecting the way he did after the playoffs, I can understand that. And that's fine. I still think he's good though.
Yeah.
Until like the Knicks actually get like better bench players, there really shouldn't be an idea of like get rid of Deuce.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. He's like the last guy they should be thinking about just getting rid of.
So yeah, Tyrese, like chill out. Like we get it. Just be better and frame the discussion better. Just be better. Okay, so Young Pavardi, aka Schwinn, shared two different takes off. This is Twitter. So this is some guy named Mets Ruined Me.
Dude, I think, all right, I'm not sure, but like he might be in our Discord. I'm pretty sure. There's a Jake in our Discord, and I always forget what his Twitter @ is, but it could be, it could not be. If it's not, I'm sorry. If it is, I'm not sorry. I don't know.
No, this one's fine. The other one's bad.
Yeah.
So this is from Jake. The Mets ruined me. I don't know who he is. He could be, like you said, if you are, you're not, whatever. Sorry, you got on. You got on.
Blame Schwinn. Blame Schwinn. Schwinn submitted it.
This was replied to the Athletics beat reporter for the Knicks, Edwards.
James Edwards.
James Edwards. I mixed him up for someone. But anyway, the fact that the Knicks, are in a dogfight like this with the Embiid-less Sixers really speaks to how fraudulent this team is. Blow it up because this team isn't winning anything. The Knicks didn't have Towns, and they just they were just fundamentally a different team without Towns. And the removal of Towns is like I said, other secondary creation. So like I don't know what I don't know what you want.
Also, like they were great in overtime. I thought they like totally turned it on in overtime in that game. They were checked out in the first four quarters, especially OG. Like that was the game where OG was just totally awful in the first four quarters.
Yeah, that was a bad OG.
Yeah, he was great in the overtime though. So like that was all we needed, and like it was a great 5 minutes. But it's very easy to have overreactions to that game because it was a absolute like pain to watch. That was
so annoying. It was so annoying.
One of the most painful games to watch for the first four quarters at least all season. So yeah.
I think we'll get into. I think we get into some of this as well. I think fans are just pretty much expecting just kind of like if the person, whoever it is, thinks like the team sucks, the opponent sucks. If it isn't a blowout, it's a loss.
Yeah.
And I don't like that mindset because like I think it's a disservice to anyone in the NBA. like I get we could joke around and be like the Sixers suck, they're terrible players, that type of stuff. But like there's still some good players on there, and it's like it's the NBA. Like if we remove kind of like our bits and our biases and our jokes, like it's the NBA. Like anything can actually happen. Like the players are good, teams are good, even if they don't have the records, and you have to show up every night. And that's the Knicks' biggest weakness right now, right? Is that they don't show up for all 48 minutes. Teams know that. We saw that against the Nets, right? Where like the Nets knew they're like, all right, the Knicks take breaks. So we're going to go hard for 48 minutes. And we kind of saw that in the fourth quarter with the offensive rebounding for the Nets, right? Like it's little pieces like that. The Knicks still played very well and they managed to get the win or whatever. But opponents know the Detroit game's another great example, right?
Oh
if
God.
you out hustle the Knicks because they're not playing 48 minutes. And I think that's what it is. But no, like you're not blowing up. Like, why would you blow up? This is the best Knicks team this is the best Knicks team either of us have ever seen. Let's be real.
You were alive, but you weren't old enough to actually see.
I wasn't following. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I agree then. Yeah.
Right, like this is the best thing. I would say most of the fans, because I know there's older fans as well. They know that this is not true, but I think for a lot of folks who either specifically also younger than me, or if they're like my age, were paying attention to basketball as a child, right? Like this is the best Knicks team we've ever seen. Like Jalen Brunson and Towns are like the two best Knicks we've seen together, right? Like these are just kind of. It is what it is right now, right? Like they're more impactful, they're better because the only guys are what it's Melo and Randall. Those are the two guys.
Yeah.
And
they're
like
not close.
And they're not close to either Brunson or Towns right now. Like I don't know what we're not blowing it up. This team's really good. We see when they turn it on, they win. So like I don't know. I don't like that. Schwinn also shared someone from it's I gotta see. This is like some bot shit, right? Like Leo 168013.
Let me just click on the account real quick. Hold on. Oh, this is a real person somehow.
Jesus Christ! All right. This one's insane. But we have to highlight it because it's so we need this. People need to stop talking like this. But it's also not. This is what you're getting now on Twitter, right? So, folks, if you're like holding on to this platform, these are the people who are around. Goes, I am a lifelong Mets fan, but in capital letters, Mets have become a Hispanic team. They're not interested in Alonso because he's not like Lindor or and other of the Hispanic Mets. I may have to reconsider my future favorite team, buddy. This is coming from a big time Mets hater. Bye. Leave. Go ahead. Leave. What is this? Like, what type of insanity is this? Does this guy not watch baseball?
I don't know. I guess he's just now finding out that like baseball players can come from any country. Like there are actually some great other countries that are in America that produce amazing baseball players.
I know,
believe it or not,
right?
like
Crazy,
it's
right?
a new thing, I guess. I don't know. Some people are just finding out. Also, I don't know if you're probably not locked in on the Pete Alonso free agency situation, but
guess what? I'm not.
Yeah. I didn't think you were.
I'm not.
He is a declining player. I mean, I might get some people disagree with me for that, but like he is a declining asset at the far side of his peak and has been asking for a long-term deal worth a lot of money. And the Mets have offered him very, very fair contracts that are like 3-year deals, 2 years. That's been the reporting, at least. Obviously, this doesn't actually come out, but the deals that he has been offered and turned down are very, very respectable and real offers that he's passing up. And I don't know what it's going to take, but it sounds like he's going to go to another team and not be a Met this year, which is fine by me, man. Like they've got good bats and they've got guys in the farm who can play first. So not a big deal, but it is a big deal to this random guy on Twitter. So
to me, that's insane.
Yeah,
it really is. Especially just like kind of like even like the Mets, like they're guys who I don't know. It's a terrible take. Please, if you're someone who thinks like this or is like registering like this guy, please don't.
Yeah,
this is bad thought process. Also describe the idea of just describing a baseball team as like this is a Hispanic team. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Don't be Don't be Leo 6'9", 6'9", 420, 6'9", with that terrible, absolutely terrible take. Okay, so this one I'm setting up because this one isn't. So the first part isn't. So some context. Our boy, co-host of Pod Strickland, Stacey Patton, made a take for the show, and then the next day immediately followed up with a corresponding take someone posted related to Stacey that I thought it was great. So Stacey has Josh Hart is better than peak DeMar DeRozan. Then the next day, someone named Eddie Presti on Twitter. You guys starting to see a theme here, like what's going on Twitter these days. Eddie Presti has the Knicks would be better off with DeMar DeRozan than Mikal Bridges. We could have added extra pieces with all those picks, and DeRozan is a better scorer than Bridges. Zach, I'll let you unpack some of this stuff, if we want to go the Josh Hart DeRozan talk or DeRozan over Mikal Bridges. I mean,
I'll do the Josh Hart DeRozan thing.